When you die, will you meet St. Peter at the pearly gates? Will he delve into your book of life? Or will you face God as your eternal judge in a court of law? How will you be judged? This second stage in our progression into the spiritual world, Swedenborg calls a state of interiors. But then I note that previously we have read that man scarcely knows what his interiors are and gives little thought to them. So for many of us, this second state is an awakening to a new perspective we've never considered before. But it's not entirely new or foreign to us, it's just rediscovering the way we ourselves are, seeing ourselves from a new vantage point, our true inner nature. Because by creation, man is formed to have his interior and exterior thought make one by correspondence. In the spiritual world, we are incapable of being anything other than what we truly are deep within ourselves. And gradually any pretense is taken away. The man's spirit is let into the state of his interior will and thought therefrom, in which he had been in the world when left to himself to think freely and without restraint. Into this state he unconsciously glides. And this idea of uncovering is found in the Bible, in Jesus' words, "For there is nothing covered that will not be revealed, nor hidden that will not be known. Therefore, whatever you have spoken in the dark will be heard in the light, and what you have spoken in the ear in inner rooms will be proclaimed on the housetops." In fact, a lot of what Jesus said about the judgment can be understood as taking place in the context of this second state. But it's not standing before a judge in a court of law as we typically think of judgment. Rather, it's a gradual exposing and recognition of one's own inner nature. It's something like the end of the honeymoon period. When we're first married, we're on our best behaviour, keen to make a good impression. But gradually we relax our pretences and we start to act naturally with each other, just as we would when we're alone. Now, because of this taking place, there begins to be a clear and obvious distinction between different kinds of people. And Swedenborg writes that the good act more wisely than in the world, but the evil more insanely. And thus there is a separation, as described in the parable of the wheat and the tares in Matthew 13, or the parable of the sheep and the goats in Matthew 25. But Swedenborg does spend a great deal of time describing the experience of the evil spirits here, the insanities and lusts they rush into, and maybe that's because their behaviour will change the most in this state. Once the pretense is stripped away, we come to see that they're not the people we thought they were. Certainly, Swedenborg describes how, during the process of transition, it is the evil who leave the good, and not the good who leave the evil. So I take comfort that this process is led by me, rather than imposed upon me. There's no one waiting in the wings to spring any nasty surprises upon us. Every development is exactly as we would choose it to be. And if I find myself in hell, it's only because I prefer that over heaven. Now that's bound to seem an odd idea to most of us, but as we continue reading, we will learn exactly what hell is and what it is like. As always, you're welcome to read along with us or read ahead if you prefer. You may have questions you'd like to pose in the comments. Enjoy the journey.